Not you working and being interviewed today. How you doing? My name is Nigel Chambers. I'm from Big O Belt Media Liz. Thank you so much for your time today to talk about your new film, Space Cadet, coming to Prime Video July 4th. How are you doing? And welcome to the nation's capital.
Oh my gosh, I'm great. It's awesome to be here. What a beautiful city.
It is. It's hot. So hopefully you are staying cool when you can.
Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sun is unforgiving this week for whatever reason.
Yep.
Let's just jump ahead because again, July 4th is when the world will get a chance to check this out. But I gotta ask you, is there plans for a sequel? Because I want to pitch it if so, because I think Space Camp needs to happen. I'm liking the
Well, you're
continuation.
right.
I would absolutely be on board for this.
You are right. I mean, yes, of course I want to do a sequel. I've got lots of ideas.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, perfectly fitting. I mean, I love this how the story just all ties up a nice knot and then leaves you like, wait a minute. The title's there. The cast is right there. This new young generation. Like, let's do this, you know? Um, this film, you could take away the aesthetics of space and all of that. Um, it tells some very important messages, and I just want to know for you, what it has been throughout your journey, whether personal or whether professionally, what has been like some affirmations or encouragement tools that you've used over the years to get to this point today?
That's such a lovely question. I've tried to lean into what I love about my job. So when people don't love what I'm doing or they try to keep me from doing it, all of that is painful, right? When you put yourself out there, you get rejected, you get criticized, yada, yada, yada. But the thing that has always kept me going, and I hope that this message is in the movie, is that if you're passionate about something, just make that your focus. Don't
Yeah,
think about I'm doing this to please other people or have them. No, you're doing it because you've been given a passion for something. And that
yeah.
should be the loudest voice in your head.
Yeah, I align with that so much. And another sort of a therapeutic question on that note too. When has been that defining moment throughout of this that's sort of been that measure of validation throughout all of that? Because I think for me personally, and this is why I love the themes of the film, is that sometimes I'm wearing the imposter syndrome like
Mm.
very loud. But then there's other moments where it's like, hey, I'm getting a chance to talk to Liz Garcia today. Like that's freaking amazing, you know? So like what are some of your measures of like validations
Yeah.
and even struggles with imposter syndrome with this?
I think earlier in my career, I thought that validation would feel better than it does. It's like you finally get validation, and the voice in your head is like, but do we believe them?
Is
Or like, right? But what feels amazing is just, like I said, leaning into the pleasure of what you do. So for me, the moments where I pinch myself are just the moments when I'm actually on set making the movie,
yeah.
where it's like, even if this doesn't turn out the way I wanted, or even if I love it, but nobody else does, the only thing I can control is that I get to do this as my job, and that's crazy.
Oh, you're amazing. I just literally speaking to my soul on that.
Oh, good.
Which to me is like, you know, sometimes I feel like I just enjoy the work more than the reward. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like it's that feels more like empowering than the you did it aspect. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
see,
It's
we
absolutely true. It's like, and I think like the older we get and the more you do this, the more you realize that you're so lucky if you have a job
yeah.
that inspires you,
Yeah.
right? Like, because most people don't. And part of what I think about with this movie is if you know in your heart that there's something you would rather be doing that would make you happy, screw what's practical.
Yeah.
Go after that. Go
Yeah.
after that. Like you deserve to feel like you're useful in the world. You deserve to feel like you're tapping into your gifts.
Yeah. Man. I know like this film, and like I'm such a low-key space nerd. So, the fact that you took sort of a subject matter that's always really been portrayed as very serious,
Yeah.
and gave it so much heart and joy. And I think at no points did you ever try to make this serious at all. So on that, we'll put a period right there for a second. But considering that NASA, I would imagine, still has some involvement with this, and astronauts have really been coming down into cinema and adding their 2 cents into things, which is great because they want to make sure that the aesthetic is as authentic as possible. Did you have NASA support? And then where did you kind of like draw the line between practical but still telling your story?
Yeah. Well, first off, so we worked with some NASA astronauts as consultants to make sure that we were not like ignoring the laws of physics. And they were very helpful. But
Yeah,
this was not, it wasn't an official collaboration with NASA because, they're a government organization.
yeah.
They can't let a bartender who has no qualifications become a NASA astronaut. So, they were not trying to stop us, but it's not like we were making a documentary for them. And then in terms of like what can you get away with, what's, in terms of like what's real and what's not, you're always kind of calibrating that, like making sure you're not being too outlandish. But I think this movie has this funny, larger than life tone from the beginning. So I think you're letting people laugh from the beginning, which lets them participate when later they think it's going to be serious, but it's still a little bit
Yeah.
funny and absurd, like it's not Interstellar. That's
Yeah.
just not the way that I love that movie so
Same.
much. That's
Same.
not the kind of work that I make. I'm more like I always want to be laughing,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm hoping people do here.
Yeah, over the last year or two, I felt like astronauts, who I just always thought was just like larger than life figures that only did stuff in space, have now really come down to be consultants. So that it's interesting
Yeah.
to hear that they, even in this, they were like, yeah, let's give you some input on that. But as a person who loves Fast and Furious, let me tell you that like removing physics is absolutely okay with me too. Like I would have been crazy to go off the rails in any capacity here. But listen, Emma Roberts coming in as Rex. I mean, what a perfect casting.
I
And you're
know.
writer director here. And it's not to say that you might have had different choices or may envision a particular person and whatnot, but I mean, when you do see your character come to life and you see such a fantastic performance, what was your reaction to her? And what was maybe even that surreal moment when you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed here.
Yeah, I mean, she's just so magical and funny and smart. And there's one scene where she's like wearing these crazy high-heeled cowboy boots and these tiny shorts and these pink fishnets, and she climbs up on the bar. And like that was her idea. She just really understood this character from the inside. And so I knew that I could completely trust any of her ideas. They just made everything so much better. And that's really the fun of movie making, is that you surround yourself with actors and crew and producers who make it all better.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Gabriel Union has probably one of my favorite scenes, one of the funniest moments in there. I don't want to give anything away, but for somebody who's such a vet, in her career, uh, did you let her improv this particular scene that I may be talking about here?
I
When she
think I
returns
know.
back on campus, so I just say that when Rex
Yeah,
returns back on
okay.
campus, yeah.
Yeah, so there was like kind of a template. There was a scene and she's following the scene. However, she has some ad libs in there. I mean, I've read all her books. She is hilarious. She is so funny. And I was very lucky to benefit from that.
I was like, wait, did she really just say that? Like, I hear it so often, so like it almost comes off as like slang at times. But I was like, oh, she really did. She really did. I was like, yeah, that had to be improv. That was Gabby 101 right there.
Yeah.
Um, I'd be remiss if I didn't go back to my beginning question. The film ends again on another really positive affirmation where you take something that I think people say time to time, but don't really like metabolize it. And when every time a party ends, a new one begins. That's such a powerful message there. But again, to me, I'm thinking like that I don't know if that's not a bigger indication that you want to tell more stories here, but I'm just curious. That statement to you, every time a party ends, a new one begins, that ends the film. And again, such a powerful message that I think people just kind of take very lightly. But why was it important, but yet intentional for you to end the film on that note?
Yeah, thank you for making that observation. Because, yeah, the idea was, putting it in Rex speak, like she talks about parties, but it's this idea that, life has these twists and turns, and she starts the movie not in a good place, and she thinks she's stuck, but the universe has more in store for her. And so it's sort of like hope is around the corner, is what I was trying to say.
That's amazing. Listen, I'm going to end with just one, maybe two more questions really quickly here. Has there ever been a moment in your life where you were not qualified for something, but you let your you let you speak for yourself in order to show why you were worthy of whatever the such job, activity, or whatever it might have been?
I mean, I feel like I approach every job I get, I fight to get it as though I'm the most qualified, the only qualified person. And then as soon as I get it, I'm like, what have I done? So I think that bluster is part of how I live my professional life. And then I deal with the consequences after.
You made the joke, and will be my final question. You made the joke about how NASA government entity and how we didn't want to put out the message that a bartender could be an astronaut. I swear to God that I was thinking like, dang, maybe there is a chance I can still live fulfill my childhood dream. But how
And,
did you truly balance that story? And was there ever a fear of the reaction it may cause?
well, I mean, I'm sure there will be some people who take it really literally and are like, this is not believable. But the idea was just if you start from character, like you really show somebody who, in her unpretentious way, is qualified to do some of the engineering work that is done as part of space exploration,
Yeah,
then like what's her character arc? I've got to show that she's got these skills, she hones these skills, and she's rewarded for the skills. The part that's unrealistic is that the world expects that you not just be talented. The world
yeah,
expects that you've gone to the right school, and then
true.
you've gotten the right master's degree, and then you have the right job. And that's the stuff that intimidates people and stops them from pursuing their dreams. And that's what bothers me because getting those things in place requires so much more than talent. So
Yeah.
this is a wish fulfillment story about what if you were truly judged on who you are inside.
It's so beautiful. Big, dream big, never give up.
Mhm.
And I always said that and within my friend circles, I didn't trust anybody who didn't bet on themselves during the pandemic. The time when the world stopped, and that was an opportunity for everybody to sort of self-reflect on
Mm,
the situation and the severity of it, but also whatever creativity, hobbies, or passion that you had, that was the time to do so. And I
mm.
think that this is why this film really taps into like who I am as a person because it's sending that message to saying that it is completely valuable to always bet on yourself. You
Absolutely
never know where it's going to
100%.
land you.
Yes, yes, I agree with you.
And now we're living in the world of entertainment where some of the biggest influencers came from TikTok. Some actors came
Yeah,
from social media because they didn't go to school or were to
right.
professionally trained. They just bet on themselves.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
beautiful
These kind of
time.
miracles are happening. It's awesome.
It's a beautiful time. All right. So listen, let's wrap it there. I'll see you back in about a year because I'm going to need Space Camp, the sequel to Space Cadet, to be popping off. Prime people, make the call, get it done,
Yeah.
send the dollars.
Now, come on.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
get it done. But truly,
Time.
before we get there, folks, check out Space Cadet. It will be premiering on Prime Video July 4th. It's the holidays. That's an amazing time for you to sit back where you
Yeah.
go enjoy those fireworks and check out a very inspirational film with a lot of laughs, good heart, good messages. Get your pad ready because there's a lot of affirmations in there that you need to implant into your own life daily. Liz, thank you so much for the time today. It's been absolutely
Thank
wonderful
you.
talking to you.
This was so fun. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Bye.